Πάμε να συνεχίσουμε την ιστορία του γιατρού Jonathan Reid. Και το έχω αφήσει μερικές μέρες και έχω ξεχάσει πού ακριβώς βρίσκομαι και τι πρέπει να κάνω. Αλλά θα το ξαναθυμηθούμε παρέα. Εμείς σαν βαμπάιρες. Και πάμε να παίξουμε. Shadow Cabinet λέει και δεν μου θυμίζει τίποτα αυτή τη στιγμή. Τον είχα αφήσει μέσα στο δωμάτιό του, σωστά. Και όλος τυχαίως το σπίτι του είναι ακριβώς απέναντι από εκεί που πρέπει να πάμε. Τώρα αυτό δεν ξέρω αν είναι προειδοποίηση εντωμεταξύ. Ναι, θυμήθηκα, τελευταία φορά είχα πάει εδώ από πίσω και κάποιον είχα βοηθήσει, κάτι τέτοιο είχα κάνει. Και γιατί τώρα τρώγομαι να ξαναπάω εκεί να δω τι γινότανε? Γιατί μπορώ, λέει. Ελίτς! Ακούω ένα που κάνει μπλε από πίσω. Ρίξτε το άλλη μία. Ωραία. Το είχα κάνει εδώ πέρα. Κάτι περίεργο είχε εδώ. Κάποιον είχα πάει να βοηθήσω. Το έκανα, δεν το έκανα. Είναι στο προηγούμενο βίντεο, δεν θυμάμαι. Να, αυτή εδώ που είναι πάρα πολύ δυνατή. Που είναι level 29 και... Όπα, ναι, κάνουν και κρυξούλες. Εντάξει, έχουμε δυναμώσει λιγάκι οπότε. Τους ψιλοκαθαρίζουμε. Ακούγεται και άλλη φωνή εντωμεταξύ. Και από πού είναι αυτές οι φωνές που ακούω? Αυτό δεν μπορώ να καταλάβω. Και όταν δεν μπορώ να το καταλάβω αυτό, ψιλοεκνευρίζομαι. Για να δούμε. Εδώ είναι η πίσω μεριά του σπιτιού, εδώ είναι η μάνα μου. Και θέλω να μάθω από πού έρχονται αυτές οι φωνές. Χα και χου και χι και χω. Έχει τελισάξει. Ήρθαν και δυο μαζί. Τώρα εδώ τις φάμε για τα καλά. Ναι. Εντάξει, έχει στάμινα. Κακώς τις έφαγες τώρα τόσο πολύ εδώ. Είναι αυτό το μεγάλο. Είναι αυτό το μεγάλο. Όπα! Ρε, που ήταν αυτός? Κάποιος μου την έπεσε εδώ, κάτσε να φάω αυτόν εδώ να τελειώνουμε. Και κάποιος κάπου μου την έπεσε. Νάτος. Εσύ τα διάλο, πού ήσουν εσύ? Χέσε με. Ωραία. Την έλυσες την απορία σου, κοπελιά? Την έλυσες. Τις έφαγες ωραία και καλά? Βεβαίως και τις έφαγες. Πάμε πίσω τώρα. Ας με κάνω λίγο καλά. Και αφού δεν ακούω τίποτα άλλο γύρω μου, να μου τραβήξει την προσοχή. Εδώ είναι η κόρη της... Εδώ πρέπει να πάω. Ναι. Α, ναι, το σπίτι της Αλληνής είναι εδώ πέρα και δεν είναι το δικό μου. Κοίτα να δεις κάτι πράγματα. Πάμε να δούμε. Άντε επιτέλους. Άσκαλον κλαμπ. Όπα της. Ναι, ξέρω που στέκομαι.
The Ascalon Club only summons or ostracizes. What is your business tonight?
I received an invitation. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reed. Please proceed. Lord
Αυτό εκεί πέρα τι είναι,
Redgrave is waiting
πτώμα?
on you upstairs.
Ωρε φίλε.
There has been quite a battle here.
Ναι, αυτό είπα κι εγώ.
I'm sure the Ascalon Club has the money to replace the furniture.
Πίνακες παντού, τους οποίους φυσικά και να είναι κάτι δεν τους αναγνωρίζω. Άντε πάλι loading. Τουλάχιστον μέσα στο σπίτι μου ωραίας μ' άφηνες να κυκλοφορώ. Εκτός αν ήταν εκεί που έπρεπε να πάω και δεν το έχω εξερευνήσει ακόμα όλο. Βγήκα έξω. Καλά, βγήκα έξω. Αλλά στο εκμεταλλευτώ γιατί είδα ένα άτομο εδώ πέρα. Πούντο. Κάπου την είδα και έλεγε unknown. Να το. Ωραία. Αφού σε βρήκα θα σου μιλήσω. Δεν υπάρχει περίπτωση.
Can I help you? I'm a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I am Karina Billow. I don't need any doctor. The rats. Where are the rats?
Miss, you don't seem well at all. Are you afraid of rats? Has one bitten you?
No, it's me who bites them. Tasty, juicy, disgusting rats. I can't stop eating them. Help me, please. Help me to disobey the voice.
What?
Can I help you, Miss Billow? I'm a doctor.
The rats.
Για να δούμε τι λέει το. Έχει διάφορα κι αυτή εδώ να μας πει. Εδώ θέλει hint, δεν μας τα λέει έτσι.
What happened to you?
The rats. The answer hides in their little crunchy bones.
Yuck.
Their
Αηδία.
tiny brains.
Miss Billow, please, try to concentrate. Why do you worry about rats so much?
The voice in my head. He forces me to do so. Drink their blood, he said. Eat their flesh.
Tell me about the voice in your head. Who is it? Can you describe it? Is it someone you know, someone you met?
Keep your mouth shut, he said. Don't ever speak about me or I'll abandon you. Help me, please, Doctor.
Καλά, ναι, δεν σε βλέπω να στέκεις και πολύ καλά εσένα.
Do you feel compelled to obey that voice, Miss Billow, even if you're loath to submit to it?
Yes. Please. Help.
Tell me about yourself, Miss Billow. What do you do for a living?
I'm hungry. Need to eat. Have you got something for me? Blood, perhaps? Can you give me blood, Dr. Reed?
Don't you remember who you are, miss? What you did for work?
I was strong, proud. I campaigned for good causes.
Α, είναι η φίλη της τέτοιας.
Before.
Είναι η φίλη της κόρης της βαμπύρισσας από εκεί, η οποία την έκανε κάποιος βαμπύρ.
What is the local news hereabouts, Miss Billow?
Shadows. Shadows hunting shadows. Whispers in the dark. Pestilence. Suffering. Death.
Γιατί κάποια στιγμή εργαζόταν για καλούς σκοπούς για τέτοια. Αφού πήρα hint. Τι έγινε? Μπορώ να την κάνω mesmerize, αλλά για ποιο λόγο δεν ξέρω. Ένα hint εδώ βρήκα, αλλά το hint είναι για τη φίλη της.
I must go now. Goodbye, Miss Billow.
Λοιπόν, πάμε κάπου εδώ να βρούμε την... Πού στο καλό είναι τώρα, χάθηκα. Αυτός εκεί τι είναι, τον ξέρουμε? Ούτε αυτόν ξέρουμε. Ας το μιλήσουμε.
Good evening, sir. May I have your attention, please?
Come on, Johnny. Don't you recognize your oldest friend?
Clarence.
Oops.
Clarence Crossley. How are you? My God. So you survived the war too. So sorry I didn't recognize you at first.
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies underneath.
Οπότε αυτός είναι γνωστός του. Για να δούμε εδώ πέρα τι έχει. Έχει ημικρανία και δεν έχω τέτοιο.
How is your wife, Venus?
We've spent so much time away from each other, and so many things have happened.
Τον παράτησε?
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France.
Όχι, λέει, την έπιασε με
Not
άλλον.
what people are like in this part of town, Johnny. Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
Hint για αυτήν εδώ.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Αυτά ήταν τα personal.
When did you escape the war and return to London?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another kind of battle now.
Και εσύ κυνηγός βαμπύρ έχεις γίνει?
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere. Vampires.
Σφίγγει ο κλειός γύρω του.
I haven't had much time to think about the war either since my return.
Of course. With the epidemic, I bet you've been busy as well.
Δεν φαντάζεσαι πόσο busy είμαι. Και εδώ παντού θέλει hint, τα οποία δεν έχω.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep.
Για να μιλήσουμε σε αυτήν εδώ, ότι μάλλον βρήκαμε τη φίλη
Good
της.
evening, Miss Ashbury.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed.
Hey! Αφού πήρα ένα hint, πού είναι?
Goodbye, Charlotte.
She's been quite bit.
Τώρα. Τέλος πάντων, πάμε πίσω. Αφού δεν προσέξαμε και βγήκαμε έξω, ας ξαναμπούμε μέσα. Με αυτά και με αυτά θέλω εγώ να βγαίνουν τα βίντεο λίγο πιο σύντομα, αλλά δεν την κόβω τη δουλειά. Είναι σε μεγάλο βαθμό αυτό που μου αρέσει. Πήγαινε εδώ, μίλα, ξαναμίλα, ανακάλυψε, βρες, φτιάξε. Οπότε όπου έχω τη δυνατότητα να λοξοδρομήσω, λιγάκι λοξοδρομώ. Γιατί μπορώ. Τώρα θα πω βλακία αν πω ότι αυτό από μακριά μοιάζει με κάποιον Έλληνα, όχι πολιτικό, της κατά. Με τον Καποδίστρια μου μοιάζει από μακριά. Μπορεί να λέω και μαλακίες. Μόνο εδώ δεν μπαίνω, τίποτα να πάρω έχει. Όλο και κάτι θα έχει, και ό,τι έχει θα το πάρω. Και είπαμε ότι από εδώ βγαίνεις έξω. Ρε φίλε, έχει γίνει γερή μάχη εδώ πέρα, Πίνακας και κακό. Α, να, εδώ, ο πίνακας είναι ίδιος με εδώ. Μ' αρέσει που σε αφήνουν ελεύθερα να παίρνεις ό,τι θες. Α, δεν μου λέει κάτι άλλο αυτός. Αλλού να πάμε δεν έχει. Εδώ τι έχει. Μ' αρέσει με το που πω αλλού δεν έχει να πάμε, πάντα έχει κάπου να πάμε. Ναι, αλλά κάτι να πάρουμε δεν έχει. Εντάξει, πάλι καλά. Κάποιοι εδώ πέρα παίζανε χαρτιά. Α, να, αυτό το ποτάσιουμ το οποίο ψάχνω. Και δεν το βρίσκω και Όπα. Και πήραμε και ένα κλειδί για το υπόγειο. Μα καλά, και αυτοί έτσι τα αφήσανε. Να τα πάρει όποιος θέλει. Α, δεν ήθελα ακριβώς να μπω εδώ. Ακόμα.
Good evening.
Wow.
My good friends, if I may have your attention.
Αυτό ήταν δοχείο Για στάχτης δεν ήταν εκεί με τριαντάφυλλα.
Come forward, young Ekon, for we have so much to discuss. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. I am Lord Redgrave, Earl of Bristol and chairman of this exclusive association.
Lord Redgrave.
At last we meet. I've been eager to make your acquaintance. I've heard some astounding things about you. Please accept my condolences for your loss, Dr. Reed.
Thank you, my lord. Lady Ashbury expressed your wish to meet me.
Yes. The lady has always been a useful acquaintance, though not always reliable. Is she a good friend of yours?
She has proved to be helpful on many occasions.
The centuries have taught me never to trust a woman completely, especially if she is a mortal.
Είσαι σεξιστής.
Too prone to emotions, if you ask me. Too fickle when it comes to important decisions.
My lord, do not expect me to speak ill of Lady Ashbury.
Of course not, and I praise your loyalty. Would you offer the same fidelity to the Empire?
What do you mean?
I speak of the Skull Plague that threatens London and the country. You have been on the front line in the East End, but the time has come to open up a second front here.
The epidemic has escaped the quarantine. You have new cases of the outbreak.
We don't know for certain, but we cannot allow the disease to threaten the prominent heads of Great Britain.
Why have you asked me here?
Because the crisis is escalating. Our enemies, the Guard of Priwen, have even launched an open hunt. The only way to calm things down is to put an end to the epidemic.
You want me to find possible sources of the outbreak in the West End? Is that it?
Ah, straight to the point, like all eager newborns. We shall have time to talk about all this, Dr. Reed, but first, I should like to get to know you better.
Talk? Is that the only reason you asked me here?
Well, no. I also wanted to meet the intriguing Ekon who made such a powerful progeny of his sister. You have not learned the name of your maker, am I correct?
No, I haven't.
Have no embarrassment, Dr. Reed. We all make mistakes. But whatever your lineage, you are definitely Ascalon material.
What
Δεν
do
θα
you
μου
mean?
πεις εσύ
I
τι
would like
είμαι.
you to become a member of the Ascalon Club and to serve me as such.
Before I accept, I have so many questions.
Please ask.
What is the Ascalon Club's express purpose?
We follow the credo of William Marshall, the greatest knight who ever lived. As was he, we are sworn to protect the British Empire.
What does Ascalon mean?
Ascalon was the lance wielded by St. George, glorious patron saint of England when he slew the dragon. And like that lance, we pierce the hearts of all our nation's enemies.
William Marshall founded the Ascalon Club.
Not exactly. William Marshall granted me immortality, and I founded the club a few years later. The good knight has been gone for so long.
What does it mean to be a member of the Ascalon Club?
It means that you swear to protect the interests of the crown, that you become a loyal servant of the British Empire.
Do you have any official recognition from the government? A charter from His Majesty the King?
No. Of course, the Ascalon Club publicly supports the Empire, but the true nature of its members remains a secret.
Am I supposed to follow orders?
As founder and chairman of the club, I alone am entitled to make demands of our members, and I do appreciate obedience.
I killed Fergal, who claimed to be one of yours, sent to cleanse the East End of all skulls. Will his death be an issue?
Do not worry. My priorities have changed. Fergal was a zealous servant of mine, but like any servant, he had his limitations and is readily replaced if necessary.
Αναλώσιμος δηλαδή. Ναι, αλλά δεν θέλω. Δεν μ' αρέσει αυτή η προοπτική καθόλου.
I agree to join the club.
This is good news. Good news indeed in these crucial times. Let's inform the assembly formally and proceed with your initiation.
My initiation?
Fear not. Nothing fancy nor dangerous. It is just that we, the members of Ascalon, believe that tradition and custom are the backbone of this country.
Δεν ήθελα να μπορώ να αρνηθώ.
My fellow members, dear friends, please gather and welcome this Ekon as one of our own.
Is he worthy? Is his blood pure?
Well, speak, Dr. Reed, in front of the most sacred blood. The blood of our beloved William Marshall, speak now.
Οι δικές τους τάχτες είναι εκεί
Will
πέρα,
you serve and protect the crown as he did?
Όχι.
Yes, I will.
Όχι.
Then, young Ekon, it is time to testify with your blood. It is time to sign the Book of Allegiance.
Δεν μ' αρέσουν αυτά. Καθόλου κιόλας.
I know it's awfully gothic and a tad pedantic, but England's traditions are the backbone of our nation.
Παραδόσεις της Αγγλίας. Ναι, σωστά. Νιάμ.
Delightful. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. Take your place among the bearers of the lance.
One of us! One of us!
Θα σου πω τώρα τίποτα. Μου πεις το ότι πρέπει να μιλήσω σε όλους αυτούς τους παπάρες. Αχ.
That went well, did it not?
You have the makings of a general, my lord.
I was, though very long ago. Well, not quite a general, but a proud defender of the crown.
So why did you really want to meet me?
Straight to the point again, young Ekon. All right, let's talk, you and I, Lance Bearer.
I'm listening, my lord.
According to my spies, you have worked with Dr. Edgar Swansea on the epidemic, and your findings were quite alarming.
Do you know Edgar Swansea?
Not personally, but I've been told he has some sort of immortal fetish and is a good friend of yours.
Does it bother you that I consider him my good friend?
As long as you reveal nothing of the club's inner workings, why should I forbid you engaging in conversation with the good Dr. Swansea?
Και κάπως έτσι θα βγει και αυτό το βίντεο, καμιά μισή ώρα.
You were spying on me.
Not personally. I rarely leave this building. But once he found you, Fergal kept me informed. Until you put an end to his mission.
Who was Fergal? I don't see him sipping tea with the others in the club.
Fergal Banshire was my squire of sorts. Even before becoming that magnificent beast, he was a brute. He served me well for decades.
No, I mean, what was he? He was clearly no ordinary vampire.
No, he was a Volcod, all muscles and instinct. Quite the rare breed, ferociously territorial. Mortals often mistake them for werewolves.
You do know I killed him.
Ναι, το έχουμε
Will
ξαναπεί
you
αυτό.
bear ill will towards me for his death?
Of course not. Your victory was quite impressive and courageous. You earned my respect.
Να τη βράσω.
Yes, I'm convinced the recent invasion of frenzied scowls in London is directly linked to the epidemic. This is not the Spanish flu, but something else.
I would be glad to hear more of your discoveries, Dr. Reed, but for now, my main concern is the security of London's inhabitants, both mortal and immortal.
What do you mean?
Alarmed by the epidemic, the Guard of Prewen has started a war against us British vampires. To appease the situation, we must eradicate the Skulls.
I have met peaceful and wise Skulls. To exterminate them means we are no better than vampire hunters.
Skulls are hideous, shameful creatures that give all Ekon a bad name.
So, what do you want me to do?
I want you to investigate the city thoroughly. I have reason to fear there are cases of contagion in this part of town. Our absolute priority is to find and cleanse them.
And how would you like me to proceed?
By all means necessary, Dr. Reed. You are now a member of the Ascalon Club and you have carte blanche. Interrogate the locals, follow all the leads you find, and get results.
It's this new malevolence. Skulls have been spotted everywhere in London. We are losing this fight.
Τώρα να πω ότι δεν έχω όρεξη να μιλήσω σε όλους.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Αλλά θα μιλήσω.
I feel perfectly fine.
Do not be alarmed. The Ascalon Club has a tried and tested policy for choosing its initiates.
May I ask who you are, sir?
Why would you be interested?
Well, as you seem to be the only man in the room with a beating heart, you draw quite a bit of attention yourself.
Ah, vampire senses never cease to fascinate me. They dwarf those of mere mortals. I am Aloysius Dawson, by the way.
Are you a member?
Yes, I am. And I have been for many years. And will be until the day I die.
Και γιατί δεν γίνεσαι βαμπύρ?
Are you sick?
Personally, I consider my advancing years are a sickness in itself. My body is slowly abandoning me, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about it?
It's not really my place to give you such information. I am merely a mortal member, and a dying one at that.
Are you not afraid? You are surrounded by vampires.
Sir, it's for that very reason that I joined the club in the first place.
Is not the nature of this club a secret shared by only a privileged few?
My dear Dr. Reed, I have spent years and a fortune precisely to gather that kind of information.
So you asked for membership?
I have been a member of many clubs in many countries. But I must admit, this one is my favorite.
What can you tell me about...
I would not dare speak of our chairman without his consent.
Τη θιά σου.
Mr. Dawson, of Dawson and Dawson, the wealthiest man in England. It is a pleasure to meet such a prominent figure of London.
A withering London figurehead, to be precise.
Are you sick, Mr. Dawson? I am a doctor, you know.
My case is beyond the scope of traditional medicine. I have spent fortunes on the world's most competent doctors to arrive at that diagnostic conclusion.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Should I suppose that you're here in search of some form of immortality?
Absolutely not. I'm here to implement my plan to save the city I was born in. To cast out the ghastly evil that has us all on our knees.
What do you know about the Guard of
I should not say this, but I admire their commitment. This is what the nation needs right now.
Would you help them?
No. There is a time for such methods. But brute force will not be enough to fight this plague. We have to think differently.
But they are our enemies.
They are not mine, Dr. Reed.
What is the situation like in...
I am sure Lord Redgrave will enlighten you more effectively than I.
Money cannot solve every problem. This mysterious epidemic is going to require more than money can buy.
You're right. Money is nothing unless one has the will to wield it. I have a plan, sir. A radical one that will save all that is essential in London.
What is your plan, then?
Quarantine and barricades are futile. What we need is a wall. A formidable, unscalable wall to isolate the deserving from the infected masses.
Κυριολεκτικά τείχο.
By doing so, you would create two separate ghettos. What if the disease gets past the wall? The results would be disastrous.
Not if we eliminate all suspected cases of infection as soon as they appear. A necessary sacrifice.
Are you not mistaking sacrifice for summary execution?
Why do you care? Are you not a vampire, removed from all mortal concerns? Decisiveness is what the city needs, and it needs it now.
Α, πάλι καλά που δεν μπορώ να μιλήσω σε όλους.
How is your investigation?
I have a few questions.
All right, but
Αχ, αχ, αχ.
May I ask you about the mortal who attended my initiation? Mr. Aloysius Dawson.
A member of the club does not normally ask questions about other members. We trust each other mutually.
So he really is a member, then?
Indeed. Only the most eminent members are allowed to attend such ceremonies. Even if I admit some of us fled during the first hours of the Great Hunt.
But Mr. Dawson is mortal. Are you not afraid he might reveal who you are? Especially to your enemies.
Aloysius Dawson is a man of his word, as are all of us. This is the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. We do not grant access to the unworthy.
Σαν να λέμε ο λόγος του συμβόλαιο,
You made me swear on the blood of William Marshall during my initiation ceremony. Why was that?
William Marshall was the most glorious knight who ever lived. He served 5 kings and was a living example of probity for all. And he was my maker.
Why is his blood so sacred to the Ascalon Club?
He was simply the greatest defender of the realm we have ever known. I fought by his side at the Battle of Preston, and he made me his progeny following the fight.
William Marshall was a vampire? Is this some sort of joke? Wait. Could he be my maker?
That would be joyful news, for it would mean he still walks among us. But alas, the great knight has left this world for good.
What can you tell me?
It's a major concern, and I'm convinced we'll only get a satisfactory conclusion by putting an end to the epidemic.
What about the risk of a full-scale attack here? Jeffrey McCullum is a daring leader.
That is exactly why so many of our number have left the country until things improve. But not me. I founded this club. I'll die defending it.
Ο καπετάνιος, τελευταίος με το πλοίο του, έτσι.
I have already met Jeffrey McCullum.
Πότε τον συνάντησα, δεν θυμάμαι.
Until he has killed every last vampire.
The Guard's current successful recruitment campaign is driven by the ravenous behavior of the Skulls.
I see. So without the epidemic creating Skulls, the Guard could not convince anybody of our presence.
Exactly. Once we have put the epidemic behind us, we need only wait until the Guard grows old and weak. Time will once again become our ally.
Ναι, μιας και έχετε μπόλικο μπροστά σας.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Godspeed, Dr. Reed. We are counting on you.
Ναι, αλλά εγώ δεν θέλω να προδώσω τους άλλους. Κάτσε να δούμε τώρα εδώ γύρω-γύρω. Έχει τίποτα άλλο να πάρουμε? Από εδώ μπήκα, έτσι. Από εδώ πρέπει να μπήκα. Καινούριο πλάκι. Δεν κακό. Πού είναι εδώ αυτός ο... Α, νάτος εδώ. Έχει κολλήσει εδώ πέρα.
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reed.
Δεν μας λέει τίποτα άλλο. Οπότε πάμε να φύγουμε. Αλήθεια, αν δεν βαριόμουν το edit, αυτά τα loading screen θα τα έκοβα. Αλλά αλήθεια, το edit είναι ό,τι βαριέμαι πιο πολύ.
I think Lord Redgrave just suggested I was sired by an ancient vampire.
Για να τους πάρουμε πάλι όλους από την
Good
αρχή.
evening, Miss Ashbury.
And good evening to you.
Τίποτα. Εδώ.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic.
A few days ago, I spotted a strange house while campaigning for women's suffrage. Awful smell. No answer when I knocked.
Where is it?
It's the Mullaneys, a nice family who live in a big house near the park in the eastern part of this neighborhood.
Ωραία, κάτι μάθαμε.
Goodbye, Charlotte.
She's been quite busy these last few nights.
Και εδώ έχω κάτι καινούριο να πω με τον γιατρό. Κάτσε να δούμε τώρα εδώ που θα πάμε λίγο. Να ξέχασα να βάλω κανένα μάρκερ για να... Έχω detail για τον παλιό μου φίλο και συμπολεμιστή. Αυτόν εδώ κάπου τον θυμάμαι. Έλα, να σου μιλήσω θέλω.
We meet again, Mr. Kimura.
Dr. Reed.
We must both be nocturnal animals, you and I. After your captivity, I thought you'd be more cautious.
Breathing the cold night air helps calm my mind, sir. I've had the most frightening nightmares since I escaped that filthy jail.
Καημένε. Α, τώρα έχουμε personal questions.
If you really want to know, I was locked in that building for 3 or 4 days. My jailer was insane, mumbling about sacrifice and voices.
And why didn't he sacrifice?
Τώρα αυτόν δεν θυμάμαι που τον είχα συναντήσει εντωμεταξύ.
He claimed to spill blood was not enough. It had to be done when some stars were aligned.
Which stars?
That's the whole point. He wanted me to talk to him about some Red Queen configuration or constellation. I've never heard of such an astronomical term.
What did he say about voices?
He constantly whined about the voice of his master, ordering him to do terrible things. He wanted to silence the voice by offering blood. My blood.
May I ask you what you do for a living, Mr. Kimura?
I was a landlord. A wealthy one. And not a very kind one, I realized recently.
Why this sudden epiphany? Is it because of your near-death experience?
I was already feeling nostalgic about Weymouth, my hometown. With recent events, I'm thinking about going back there.
How is the situation?
I've heard rumors about armed men patrolling and fighting infected citizens in these very streets. I was lucky they didn't shoot me when I was abducted.
Tell me, Tadao, why was your abductor so interested in your passion for astronomy?
I dunno. We met a few times at the Royal Greenwich Observatory. He seemed to share my hobby. Then he invited me to his house and locked me in.
Yes. Astronomy is a fascinating subject. When I was a child, my mother bought a small telescope for my sister and I. We spent many a pleasant evening stargazing.
Stars are not just dots in the sky, Doctor. They are the key to our understanding of the cosmos. They remind us how insignificant we are.
You're right. But children love magic and stories. I remember our mother told us constellations have the power to protect us.
Protection by the light of the stars. That's sweet. You remember the name of these constellations?
Pegasus. It was the constellation my mother liked the most.
Memory's a strange thing. I can recite without hesitation the names of the 88 constellations, yet I barely remember my own childhood.
Did he fake his interest in astronomy to get close to you?
No. In his madness, he spoke about a blood sacrifice to be made to his master when the stars aligned to a specific configuration.
Why are you so nostalgic for your hometown, Tadao?
I was focused so much on making money, I almost forgot that my relatives and friends are threatened by this epidemic.
Have you heard anything from your family?
I was not only a bad landlord, I was also a bad husband. I've not seen my wife and son for years. Busy, busy, busy.
At least now you're ready to go back and see them. But don't be surprised if your son bears a grudge, sir.
You make it sound like you suffered from an absent father yourself, Dr. Reed. Well, I'll keep your warning in mind.
Have you no friends at all?
Over the years, I'm afraid my greed turned me into my friend's adversary, while I became friends with my professional rivals.
Those you grew up with didn't share your views on money and success.
Would you believe I was once a member of poetry circles and an astronomy club? We were young, such joyful dreamers then. But I stopped laughing long ago.
Can you change? And is it what you really want? If so, it must come from within, not without.
I've seen what an altruistic gesture can do. Nothing forced you to save me, Dr. Reed, but you did. I will follow your example in these matters from now on.
Believe me, Mr. Kimura, I've met a few good Samaritans, but I'm not like them. Not at all.
I don't intend to be a saint. I don't think I have the fiber anyway. All I want is to do something good and useful in this world for a change.
Hint failed. Κρίμα.
I've seen. Believe me, I don't intend.
Κρίμα. Το χάσαμε αυτό το hint.
Goodbye, Mr.
Και εδώ είδα κάπου έχει κάτι να πάρουμε. Ωραία, μπορώ τώρα να επικοινωνήσω με τις διάφορες περιοχές. Εδώ είναι το σπίτι μου. Και να δω, έχει τίποτα άλλο εδώ να μιλήσω.
Good evening, old chap. Are you all...
I won't lie to you,
Clarence, why have you distributed leaflets about vampires all across the West End?
I have to warn everybody about them. They've killed thousands of people already, unnoticed thanks to the epidemic. We are all in danger here.
Vampires in London? Come on, Clarence. Who's going to believe that?
I'm not mad, Jonathan. You have to believe me. I know they are real. They're all around us, even as we speak.
Clarence, you've always been a reliable and a good friend to me. If you say you saw a vampire, then I believe you.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for your trust. You don't know what that means to me.
It's all right. But if you want my help, you have to explain exactly what happened.
The first time it was in Rouen. I saw an officer drink the blood of a soldier. I saw its teeth, saw it bite. It was a vampire, Johnny, and they're here too.
Tell me what you have discovered about vampires, Clarence.
They've always been here. And if you search for long enough, you realize others know about these devils too. I'm not alone.
Και να ξέρεις.
Have you shared your research with anybody else?
No. But I've published my leaflets all across the city, hoping that someday someone will realize I'm printing the truth.
What do you mean you're not alone? Who have you met?
The Guard of Prewin, the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole, Ichabod Throgmorton. Those names always pop up when you dig deep enough.
Have you spoken with any of them?
No. With the quarantine, it's almost impossible to leave the West End. But as a doctor, maybe you could, Johnny.
Are you asking me to help you prove the existence of vampires, Clarence?
Yes, Johnny. Please, gather all the information you can find about vampires and bring it to me. You're the only friend I have left.
Και να ξέρεις. Και να ξέρεις.
Clarence, tell me about the vampire you saw in France.
I was enjoying my leave in Rouen. I left the bar, took a shortcut back to the barracks. I saw it in a back alley. An officer in a stained uniform, biting into a soldier's neck.
Did you ever see that officer again?
No. Wore the uniform of the Royal Warwickshire Regiment. I did some research but found no trace of him. He probably stole it from a previous victim.
Να του το πω, θα του το πω.
You were drunk, weren't you? Are you sure these two men were not just kissing?
Please don't insult me, Johnny. I hid, and I saw him leave. Then I saw the body, drained of all blood. I've seen the same marks here in London since I've returned.
Εντάξει, δεν τον προσβάλαμε. Για να αυτό είπαμε, δεν έχει άλλο. Εδώ δεν έχει κάτι άλλο.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Can you help me?
Infection is everywhere these days. But if you ever go to the park near that swanky house belonging to the Mullaneys...
Yes? What about the Mullaneys? What about their house?
Not enough noise for a big family with children. Not enough movement. Closed doors. What is going on in there? I wonder.
Είναι η δεύτερη φορά που ακούμε γι' αυτό το συγκεκριμένο σπίτι.
You need some rest, Clarence.
Λοιπόν, θέλω όμως, τι θέλω, μισό λεπτό. Να συντονιστώ λιγάκι, να βρω πού ακριβώς είμαι και πού πάω. Λοιπόν, θα πάω προς το σπίτι μου. Γιατί και αυτό το βίντεο ήταν σαν ένα μεγάλο cutscene με όλους αυτούς τους διαλόγους και θα δω. Ναι, πριν λίγο. Λοιπόν, εδώ τα έχουμε δει όλα. Εδώ θέλουμε άλλο ένα hint.
I'm currently investigating sources of the epidemic in this part of town. Do you know anything useful?
Not really, except all the McPherson's servants resigned a few days ago. They feared becoming infected, they said.
The McPhersons? Where do they live?
I think it's a rich house near the
Και δεύτερο
railway
όνομα.
bridge in the southern part of the district.
Goodbye, Avery.
Of course, Mr. Jonathan. Returned from the war too, but the poor man doesn't seem well.
Πού είναι το δωμάτιό μου, είπαμε? Εδώ, βλέποντας τα λουλούδια, γιατί υποψιάζομαι ότι είναι το δωμάτιο της αδερφής μου. Έλα εδώ. Κάμ του δόθε.
Hello again, Mum.
Jonathan, back already. Good. I was just about to go outside to find you. You shouldn't stay away for so long.
Άσε με ρε μάνα.
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye, son.
Εντάξει, την πρόλαβα πριν βγει έξω.
Spending next summer in France. Absolutely. Why not?
Στον αέρα μιλάει. Λοιπόν, εγώ όμως τι θέλω τώρα? Θέλω να δω εδώ τι μπορώ να... Ωραία. Θέλω να δω αν μπορώ να φτιάξω... Δεν το έχω ανακαλύψει ακόμα αυτό, Δεν έχω βρει ακόμα για τον πονοκέφαλο. Να δω αν μπορώ να αναβαθμίσω τίποτα από τα όπλα μου. Αυτό εδώ έχει αποδειχθεί πάρα πολύ βολικό. Εδώ θέλω κάτι ακόμα να βρω. Αυτό. Ακόμα δεν έχω καταλάβει. Βασικά δεν έχω ασχοληθεί κιόλας ιδιαίτερα να καταλάβω. Αυτό είναι η αλήθεια. Λοιπόν, θα βάλω τον γιατρό μας για ύπνο. Θα του αναβαθμίσω τίποτα, δεν ξέρω. Πού είμαι? Εδώ. Να το. Εδώ θα του δώσω ακόμα λίγη ζωή, αν έχω. Έχω, δεν έχω, 1500. Ωραία, και μάλλον δεν έχω και τίποτα άλλο αυτή τη στιγμή. Ωραίο αυτό όταν δεν έχεις. Λοιπόν, επιβεβαιώνουμε εδώ. Την επόμενη νύχτα. Έλα. Τώρα είναι πρόσωπα εδώ που ακόμα δεν έχω βρει. Κάπου πρέπει να τα βρω. Θα τα βρω κάποια στιγμή. Ίσως, όχι ίσως, θα ψάξω να τα βρω στο επόμενο βίντεο. Και προς το παρόν θα κλείσω εδώ. Σας ευχαριστώ που ήσασταν μαζί μου. Είμαι Pt13. Καλό σας βράδυ.